The veteran MP has since issued a grovelling apology over her letter to a newspaper which has been branded deeply offensive. Diane Abbott has been stripped of the Labour whip after sparking a furious backlash over claims Jewish people do not face racism. In a letter to The Observer, the Hackney North and Stoke Newington MP suggested Jews are only subject to prejudice similar to people with red hair. Ms. Abbott, who served as Jeremy Corbyn's shadow Home Secretary, today apologised and blamed the letter being an initial draft following widespread condemnation, but Labour confirmed that the whip has been suspended from her pending an investigation into the letter, meaning she will sit as an independent MP in the Commons. A party spokesman said, "The Labour Party completely condemns these comments which are deeply offensive and wrong." The chief whip has suspended the Labour whip from Diane Abbott pending an investigation. Energy Secretary Grant Shapps, who is Jewish, said, "Once again, Jewish people have to wake up and see a Labour MP casually spouting hateful anti-Semitism. Keir Starmer, are you actually going to do anything?" Tory Deputy Chairman Lee Anderson told The Express, "I was a redhead in my younger day and I can reassure you that being called a gingernut or being teased about hair color is not racist, and to suggest this is comparable to the hate our Jewish friends have suffered over hundreds of years is quite disturbing from one of Labour's leading politicians. Quite frankly, it's disgusting but comes as no surprise," Conservative Party Chairman Greg Hands added. Diane Abbott's disgusting comments downplaying the anti-Semitism constantly faced by Jewish people shows the Labour Party haven't changed since being found institutionally racist. Labour's Shadow Work and Pensions Secretary John Ashworth branded the letter utterly offensive. Jewish Labour MP Dame Margaret Hodge said Ms. Abbott's letter was deeply offensive and deeply depressing. She added, "Keir Starmer's response is right. No excuses. No delays. The comments will be investigated and she has been immediately suspended," former Cabinet Minister Sajid Javid said, appalled by this minimization of racism against Jews and other groups who may not have a certain skin pigmentation. Redefining racism in obscure ways damages the cause of tackling it, whether that's majority versus minority, minority versus minority, or other points of difference. Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick said, "Minimizing anti-Jewish racism as mere prejudice is ignorant, offensive and shameful." A spokesman for the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism said, "Diane Abbott's claim that Jewish people cannot suffer racism is outrageous in itself, but made all the more extraordinary given all that has unfolded in the Labour Party over the past few years. She and her allies on the far left of the party could never accept how bad anti-Semitism had become because they do not even acknowledge that it is a form of racism. We already made complaints against her, which the party has never investigated. Her suspension now is past time, and must be the first step towards her expulsion from the party." Labour Against Anti-Semitism described Ms. Abbott's letter as simply unacceptable. The Jewish Labour movement said, "We should be unified in our struggle against racism, not divided against one another. A hierarchy of racism only divides communities and assists the racists. We must not allow this." In a post retweeted by Minister for Women and Equality's Kemi Badenoch, Tory peer Lord Wolfson said, "Diane Abbott is right on one point. My relatives were never forced to sit at the back of the bus. There aren't any seats on cattle trucks. Otherwise, minimizing anti-Jewish racism as mere prejudice is shameful from someone who takes the Labour whip." In her letter, Ms. Abbott, who made history as the first black woman MP, responded to a comment piece which suggested that Irish Jewish